Hello, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to have a look at the course of the Nut Brook, which starts in Derbyshire and also runs along the long abandoned, long closed Nutbrook Canal. Now the canal in particular, that opened in 1796, and I've already covered that in a couple of previous videos right at the start of me doing this YouTube lark about 9 or 10 months ago, but never really looked at it in detail. And at the same time, we've just had two back-to-back storms, Storm Cara, and we're just on the back end of Storm Dennis. At this moment in time, there's more flood warnings in the UK than at any other time that's been recorded by, you know, the Weather Centre. And so I'm going to follow this. It's going to be a similar kind of video to the River Erewash one I did back in November 2019. But you can see this is already, it's churning around. It's got its own little storm going on down there. Got culverts overflowing. This, I've never seen water in there before. It's usually a good few feet lower than this. Now up there, you've just been looking at the former Great Northern Railway Derby Friargate line. So Derby in that direction, Nottingham in that direction. So I'm going to start off by walking up there and down the other side. Hopefully, weather permitting, it's supposed to get a bit sunnier later on. We get the drone out. What I want to do is follow the course of this, get to the Erewash, and eventually to the River Trent and into Nottingham city centre to see how a small river like this turns into a huge beast of a river such as the Trent. Yeah, also add that this is also a former railway line, so the direction we're going is towards the Stanton Ironworks, and it's since been converted around about 22 years ago into what's now the Nutbrook Trail. So Stanton Ironworks a few miles down this way, and looking back we'd head off towards Shipley Park and Heanor. So I've crossed over the A609 road and we've come down here. Now I'm not seeing any evidence of anything bursting its banks yet. We're nowhere near the River Erewash currently. We're off the canal track bed. The Nutbrook is down there. So I'm going to head on up this way a little bit away from the river because that's too messy down there, and see what signs we've got. See, that's the canal. This is the former canal we're in now, the Nutbrook Canal. We've been here before, around about April. It was one of our very first videos, as previously mentioned. It wasn't very good, to be honest. That's looking too muddy, but we'll pick it up. We'll get back on the former railway line towards Stanton and get back around. So I'm back on the canal bed now, and you can see from the stonework. Now we've only got this on one side, it's been flattened on that side, but on this side, look at this. We're inside a lock, a former lock on the Nutbrook Canal. I can't remember the number, it might be number 6. And it's got a little bit of muddy water in the bottom. But this is brilliant. I mean, I've seen this before, but there was a lot more weed and growth around it. Let's go a little bit further down. You can see this is probably where the lock gates would have been. You got this brickwork shooting out just there, and it curves around again here as if to suggest that the lock gate, when open, sat there. We've got this as well here, look. One of the outfalls once were for the water. That's beautiful. I love it. I just wonder why they took one wall away and not the other. So looking at this water and this this grass here, it suggests that the water has been coming down here and it's flown into the Nutbrook, so I think the water level has been higher than this in the last 24 hours. Whether the river actually burst its banks at this point, I'm unsure. It might have just been a flow of water coming down. Here it is, it's getting a little bit wider. We're now coming up to a lake. Apologies for any wind. Right, so got a bit of an issue here. So the lake is clearly a lot fuller than it should be. There's your path. Now I think that wall, that's part of the old canal wall. So you should be able to get over there a little bit and walk across the top of that embankment. So that's clearly the edge of the canal, isn't it? You can imagine working boats tied up right there because there's a straight section of stone coming up, which is going to be the remains of our lock chamber. Let's see if we can get down a little bit closer without slipping in. There you go. That's straight and perfect. That has got to be the lock that's lost at the lake. So looking really narrow here. So the path, well, you can see the ducks are enjoying themselves. I think you can make them out. There's a bench in the water. Now the path is roughly where that little tree is, just there, and the ducks are about to go past it. So that's looking back at the lock, and over this side we've got the Nut Brook itself. So I am going to be able to go past. So yeah, between the tree and the bench, that's your path, and I could just make it. Yeah, and something else, you can clearly see where the water level's been. That security fencing has been absolutely mown down by the weight of the water and all the weeds behind it. So I've just been speaking to a gentleman up there, and he's just explained to me how you just saw that line we was following up and towards the water's edge. That is where the water got to. All this area here was impassable. You can see here where the water's just come billowing along, and it's left its marks along the path, and it's gone straight over there. That's your old canal over there. This was submerged by around about 1 foot to 2 foot at some point yesterday tea time. I found it absolutely remarkable. Where's the water gone in such a short space of time? It's gone down so fast. So something at that end is doing its job correctly, and it's, you know, it's controlling the water levels and the flow rate along this area. But there's probably some areas here that's not seen water in this canal section for a few decades. There's something to note. Regardless of the fact that the water level is down, the further I'm going towards Sandy Acre, Long Eaton and the River Erewash, where this river joins on, the water level is getting higher. So am I going to encounter any issues further down, or will the canal further down not be in such a bad state that it will have collected a lot of this water and still make it passable all the way down? We've still got a few more locks along here, so it'd be interesting to see what state they're in. Okay, that down there, that's another lock chamber. And the previous occasion I've seen this, it's been bone dry. Absolutely not a puddle in there. And look at all that rubbish, it's just used for fly tipping. So many years of junk and crap in there. So just on the little descent from the lock, and I'm back down to almost water level on the Nut Brook. But look at all this. More water than this canal's seen for a good many years. Starting to get a touch concerned now that the path seems to be coming down to a level, not so much on the canal side, but on the brook side. All's good at the minute. And just the other side, oh, you can't see it now, but over there where you see that hedgerow, that's the former railway line. Wow. So route of the canal is just behind there. Now luckily there's this little bridge. You can see where it's been. Look at it. It's just a muddy deluge of... Wow. This must have been something else. The weir is only just coping with it. Luckily I can get around. Maybe a couple of hours ago I wouldn't have been able to. So the former route of the canal, an absolute mess. Look at it. Hard to think of what it was. It looks a lot like a canal that was in water, only like yesterday, and there's been a breach and it's just drained. Now that over there, that was a former canal arm, so a junction, and it was known as Stanhope's Arm. And over there was a property, and it was owned by the then Lord Stanhope, and he even had his own wagon way. Now this closed a long time before the canal did, so you've got to imagine this stretch of the canal, it closed back in, well, it wasn't even 1900s, it never saw life in the 1900s. The section towards the end at Stanton Ironworks did, but that was because the canal itself was used for the transporting of goods from Stanton Ironworks, and also this section, still in water, was used as a water supply for the ironworks, and is now used and looked after by a fishing club. Now further down is lock number 3, and lock number 3 is probably the best one along this canal that's intact and in water, because 1 and 2 they've gone, they've been filled in, they're in the wastelands of Stanton Ironworks. So at this point we have left the Nut Brook behind. That's gone underneath the railway line, so that's line of hedge there, that is the former Stanton Shipley Railway. And here we're going to find lock number 3. And just look at this old valve gear, it's just spewing the water out. Now, this larger one at the side, I'm not sure if that's been capped off in some way. I don't know what the purpose of that is. It's got the mechanism on top to like wind it or lift it. But the little one that's certainly in full use today. Over there you can see another one of the inlets where the water would have come in from the top level and filled the lock up. There's probably one down there as well. But yeah, that's fantastic. And the lock is at water level with the canal going down to the next road bridge. And there's evidence here of the water actually going over the top. again from the flood. You can see the lines. I bet this was tremendous to see. We'd never have got down here. Brilliant. So there's some remains of old buildings over there, and that noise you can hear is this. Now that's the overflow of the canal water going into the Nut Brook. Now at this point the canal carried on just here, but no more. That was the route of the canal. Also used as a water supply later on for the Stanton Ironworks, and it had come out on the Erewash Canal. And there's that section I was just on about. Stinks a bit. Can't quite see where the water's actually going. It looks like it's actually flowing that way, whereas in the days of the canal it would have gone that way. So that's water coming from somewhere and joining the canal and then going along that outfall we've just been looking at. Point here, lot 1 was just over there, and the Nutbrook Canal completed its journey and came out right here into the Erewash Canal. So we'll get down onto the Erewash Canal, we'll have a look at it from the other side, and not forgetting we haven't seen the last of the Nutbrook. Okay, that's your Nutbrook Canal. That's where it came out. We were just stood up there on that wall. that is the end of that canal's journey. And a little further down here we've got the aqueduct. It goes over the Nut Brook, which also terminates a few yards over there. Now I think last time we looked at this it was a little bit higher, and it would have been higher anyway, but the water line only looks about 6 inches higher on the bridge there than what it was. It goes over there under the Erewash Valley Railway, and immediately on the other side that is the river Erewash. Now last time I was at this point, so we've got the village of Trowell over there. It was only in November when we came. I could get down the bridge on the other side. That was it, it was impassable. The water was flowing over at such a rage. And so last time, those that saw the video previously of the Erewash in flood, this was flowing. And it was flowing all the way down there. Now, it looks like it has been doing. Now considering the storm was only 24 hours ago, again it's dropped down significantly, the water level has. It's unbelievable if this was as high as it was last time, because we got to about here last time. And that's as far as I could walk. I'll stick a picture on if I can find it and show you what it was like last time. This time we can clearly get down to the other side. But it also demonstrates how high the water was last time. Remember me saying it was like a steep embankment, 3 or 4 feet up? You may not remember it because you may not have seen the other film. So on this side of the path, that's actually flowing. It's flowing quite slowly. That's the sewage works over there. This path's been washed away, and we're about to cross the river Erewash. And that lake of water is slowly flowing. You see that pipe? That's where the river is, and we're going to cross a bridge and look at it better. Oh, just look at that. You can see the water's been over here at some point in the last 24 hours. I've never seen water actually going over this bridge at any point. So the sluices and the water control on the River Trent are certainly doing the job to get the water level down this quickly. I believe there were sections of Trowell village down there which did actually get flooded. One benefit of the flood has actually been, this is usually absolutely full of cow poo. You know, you wade through it, it's like a swamp. You can see evidence of it there. So as we head up to... oh, hello. So yeah, there's all the evidence you need of cows in the field. Brilliant.